People say. Survivor Specialist Phil and Alexa are back. Thankfully, Alexa, I don't think anybody saw that. But I am heartbroken. I am devastated. And this is going to be probably one of the most talked about and probably one of the most controversial episodes Survivor might ever have. And I really, really mean that. And I really, really believe that. We got a lot to break down tonight. We had a reward challenge. We had this community challenge. And, of course, we had the Tribal Council where 2 tribes went in to vote out 1 person. Whether you think it's fair or not, Malcolm Freeberg finished 17th place on Survivor Game Changers and did nothing wrong. This was just a mess. Alexa, how you feeling about Malcolm going home?
I'm not feeling too hot because I'm out of the Eliminator Challenge. So that shame on me for picking him. I didn't think he'd have much time left, and I was unfortunately pretty darn right. So I'm a huge Malcolm fan. He went home and did nothing wrong. And it was great. He was hilarious. He was funny. He was a narrator. He made this season so fun, and I am devastated that he is gone. I have so much to say, and this is a tough one. This is heartbreaking. And also for my fantasy team, this is a bad week for Alexa.
Alexa's falling apart at the seams here. So for the Eliminator Challenge, just so that anybody knows, we never got one from Mark Dean, so he's out. Alexa's out. And anybody who's still left, you also beat Adam Klein, Survivor Millennials vs. Gen X winner. Adam also had Malcolm this week. So Malcolm and Alexa, Adam and Alexa just took out 2 of the bigger threats from the Eliminator Challenge. But here I am still sitting here, and that's why I'm the specialist, and Alexa's the fill-in.
You didn't call me fill-in this time, though.
Well, I wanted to save the insult for now. But that was, there's just no way you can predict this is coming. And, we should probably just focus on this whole thing. But first, I want to say Jeff didn't tell them that they were both going to Tribal together until after Tavua had left. So Tavua has no idea that these 2 went together.
And that's what was kind of cool, because I was watching with a friend who didn't know that this twist was coming. So when they get to the challenge and he says, we have 2 tribes going to Tribal Council, everyone's like, oh yeah, this is something that's happened before. Not ideal, but it's happened before. And then the fact that he revealed it after the challenge made it a little more suspenseful. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, Tavua is going to be super confused. I'm curious if Jeff is going to tell them leading into the next reward challenge or whatever the is going to be. I think he will, but they have no clue what's going on. And they are sitting so pretty right now. Good for them. They're in the best position that anyone could be in right now.
Being away from this Tribal Council is probably the best thing that you could do, because you didn't have to sit there and make up your mind and do whatever the hell started going on there. They stayed away from it. Those 6 are fine, and I don't think they're going to lose. Now they have to finish 3rd place in one of these immunities. You have Ozzy. Troyzan totally sucked tonight, but they're never going to let him throw a thing ever again. Why? You're never going to lose. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and that's, you know what? Good for them. Most of that tribe might not hit a Tribal Council until the merge, and you know what? They're doing better than everyone else is.
Yeah. So it's going to be weird that they don't know, and I'm sure they're going to be absolutely floored when it comes in that Malcolm's not there. I have a lot of – okay, first of all, I want to say this. This Tribal Council was amazing. It was incredible. It was something completely different. Whatever. It was awesome to watch. This twist did not work. And I really believe Survivor went for the instant gratification on this one, didn't think long-term. And now you've eliminated Malcolm. No matter who you eliminate here, it was never going to have a positive effect long-term on the season. This was going to be a one and done. These tribes weren't ever going to go together. And when it's 6-5, all you're really doing is giving the choice to the tribe with 6 to vote out the tribe with 5, to vote out their strongest player. They got lucky. They had an idol. So there you go. But I don't think it worked. It was exciting. It was great TV, but I don't think it worked.
It was incredible TV at the moment. I was at the edge of my seat. I was watching overtime of the Super Bowl, but instead of the Patriots winning, I lost my favorite player. So that was unfortunate. But we've said in the predictions that we didn't love the idea of this twist. And what made it so frustrating is that they lose the challenge and they go back to their respective beaches. They don't get to talk to each other, which made this so much more difficult, and not in a not in a good way. It just created a major lack of communication. And I'm sure when they were coming up with the idea, they were thinking, oh, great, we're going to get a live tribal. And I love watching live tribals. I think they're fun. But the live tribal was it was just a snowball effect to the point where we had no idea what was going on. I had no idea who was voting for who was lying to who. And yeah, that was crazy to watch. That was such a cool experience. But oh, Malcolm got so screwed.
And anybody who's
and the whole idol.
I just don't understand.
The whole idol thing is.
Okay, go, Alexa. It's all you.
Okay, so the thing with the idol is, so one tribe gets a clue to an idol in a challenge. Then another tribe gets a clue to an idol. That's like, I get that there wasn't much time. I get that we only get an hour, but how long did it take? How long did we see Ty looking for that idol? We had 15 seconds, and then Ty gets an idol, and that throws off the whole thing. We don't get a chance for the Nuku tribe to find an idol either. The whole thing was just set up very poorly.
I don't know what they're doing with idols this year. I know Jeff said that they were all going to be different, but I just want to say, we'll talk about this idol thing. I just want to say, anybody who doesn't think Malcolm got screwed, think about it this way. In a normal season of Survivor, even when they do all these twists, blah, 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 your tribe has to vote you out. He did not get voted out by his tribe tonight, and he was not going to get voted out by his tribe. His tribe was never going to vote him out, not this early. JT just lost his closest ally, and it's great that his tribe thinks that JT screwed him. Malcolm completely got screwed by this. He got voted out by 5 people that he never spent time with or wasn't in a tribe with. And to go to a tribal council and not get a single vote from your tribe, but get all the votes from the other tribe because you're the biggest threat on that tribe, that is like Aryan screwed levels of China. I really, really believe that. And I do think
I was about to compare this. I was about to compare this to like Michelle from of Screwed. Like he got so screwed, and I do believe that if as a result of this, or if Ty went home as a result of this, people might not be as mad. I wouldn't be as upset because like it's Malcolm. He was the face of these episodes, and now he's gone. But he got absolutely screwed by the twist, by the idol, the whole thing. He was sobbing in his final words. That was heartbreaking. He wanted to be there so badly. Were heartbreaking. That was so sad to watch.
Yeah, and I love this. I'm just reading the comments where it's just like, he didn't get screwed. Aaron didn't get screwed. Sorry, I'm just reading it. But this is something, yeah, somebody said Haley was technically on his tribe. No, she wasn't. She was on his tribe maybe to start the game.
She had no idea what was going. She had no idea who they were going to vote for going into it.
Yeah, I mean, and the only reason I compared it to the Aaron tribe swap of tribe swap was literally because the other tribe said, oh, we're going to pick the 2 strongest players and they're going to come be on our tribe and we'll just get rid of them. Like, that's exactly what happened. I mean, so that's like what I don't like about this twist is Malcolm goes, and I like Malcolm. I thought this was great. I'm totally fine with Malcolm going home. Like, it's the game. It happens. But he didn't do anything wrong. And this twist is, I don't think this twist comes back. I really don't think this twist comes back because, yes, it created a great tribal council. But what did it create for the rest of this season? It created nothing for the rest of the season except Malcolm is gone. Going into the next tribal, what's going to happen? JT or Haley's going to go home because they played their cards this week. That's all that this tribal did.
And JT is absolutely screwed because even when they're walking out of tribal, and it might be Michaela or two who turns to Varner and she's like, I think JT played us. And so they're under the impression that JT orchestrated this whole thing. And I don't know how he comes back from that, even if he is honest, which he didn't orchestrate it. Man, JT has made some blunders, but how is he going to recover from this? How is he going to recover from the wrath of Sandra, who was extra aggressive tonight? How is he going to recover from that? He's going home. There's no chance he can recover.
Unless he finds an idol, JT is gone.
And Malcolm was his connection Malcolm was really the only relationship that we saw JT have on his current tribe. And with Malcolm out of the equation, he is cemented on the bottom of that tribe.
Yeah. No, it's true. And that's what's so crazy about this twist is JT really wanted Sandra to go home. So if Sandra goes home, JT gets exactly what he wanted. He still has Malcolm. And then Varner's a wild card. Michaela probably comes and sides with them. They probably get rid of Aubrey or Varner next. So it was supposed to work for JT. But with all of the chaos that went on with them talking to each other and everybody going up to each other, I mean, it was crazy. Like it was really, like you said, it was a live tribal. It was really, really insane. And like, it went as poorly for JT as it possibly could have without him going home. And yes.
The JT crying when, because in the moment I was like, oh wait, JT was involved in this, and then you see JT tearing up as Malcolm's going home, and it's just like, oh my god, this. Do
you think JT ever wants to see an idol again?
JT must have so much PTSD. And the thing is, I'm rewatching Heroes vs. Villains. I actually watched JT give Russell his idol this morning before I went to work. He has such good intentions. He has such a good heart, but man, he is just not putting himself in good positions. And also, what I don't know if the correct word would be ironic, but JT wanted Sandra to go home. JT started this live tribal. JT started this by going over and talking to Brad. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the first words that came out of his mouth were, "It's going to be Sandra." He like had it, and it just fell apart.
Yeah, no, it's true. And so he went right over to Brad. He said, vote for Sandra. I don't think Brad bought it because if Brad's smart, which it's showing that Brad is pretty smart here. He learned to count. He only used 4 fingers when he said 4 this time. So he's getting better at counting on his fingers. But if Brad's smart, which I think he is, he says to himself, wait, they know JT was on my tribe to start. They're probably sending him over like, oh, vote for Sandra. Obviously, she's the biggest threat because she has an idol or something. Or he's never going to do it. Like, whatever. They don't want to play an idol. They want to know where all the votes are going. And I think that's why Sandra probably doesn't get the votes, because they don't totally trust JT. Now, what I thought was crazy is you got Haley saying, hey, we should take out the big muscle. We should do this and that. And then she goes over and she starts telling everybody, vote for Brad. Now, they have to be thinking the same thing that Brad's probably thinking. You have to be suspicious of Haley because they've clearly made Haley be on the bottom. So now you have the person on the bottom coming over to you, telling you to vote for Brad. How do they know that she really is that much on the bottom? Which is why I think that they voted for Sierra, and Haley had no idea an idol was in play. And that's why at the end she goes, I don't consent to this, because she wanted to let them know, guys, there's an idol and Sierra, and they're about to play it. So you better make the right choice, because I didn't know that. And Sierra definitely told her at this tribal, even though we didn't hear her say it, because you see Haley go, oh, and what else would make her do that and then not want to vote right away other than an idol?
Exactly. That Jeff, I do not consent to this was crazy. Has anyone ever paused? Has anyone ever stopped and said, no, I am not prepared to vote?
I don't think so. Not like that.
This happened once or twice before, but I think there's been some, I'm not ready, but stop and say, guys, I am unaware. I am not ready. Crazy. And Haley's in. She played it so interestingly. JT.
I'm losing you hard. What?
Found a way to still somehow see. Sorry, how am I now?
I don't know. I'm losing you pretty bad. I didn't hear a single word you just said for the last minute and a half.
How am I now? Am I better?
Kind of. I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I can talk slowly, even though I completely lost my train of thought.
I mean, I really can't even tell you what I think you said.
but actively speaking now, how am I doing?
You're a little bit better.
Can you repeat that? I missed you.
Okay, one of us is having terrible internet right now. We don't know who it is. We'll figure it out. I'm sure somebody will tell us that it's one of us in here. Maybe neither of us, or maybe we just can't communicate. I have no idea. I really can't hear Alexa at all. So yeah, it's Alexa. Okay.
Now, as I'm talking.
It's you. I really can't hear you. I'm going to go on a little rant here. I'm going to see if maybe Alexa wants to go out and come back in or something. I don't know, but it's terrible. Anyway, so speaking of... Yeah, go and come back. So speaking of JT, so JT, I just don't see where he goes up from here. With what Haley just did and what JT just did, clearly Haley was solidifying herself as the bottom here by going out and like just clearly going she was going after this her own tribe, which is very weird and very strange, but that's what she was doing. So I'm worried that JT is going to be viewed as doing the same thing, and it looks like they're going to fight anyway. Alexa, what's going on? It was you, everybody's saying, but how's it going?
It was me. How am I sounding?
You sound better, so.
I can take better.
Okay, we'll see how this goes. So all I was talking about is that Haley clearly was trying to go against her own tribe. JT really wasn't, except for if he could get Sandra. But once he couldn't get Sandra, he even voted for Sierra Dawn Thomas. So how Haley gets out of this, too, I really don't know. But they were throwing her under the bus at the beginning of that tribal. Like, Haley's been killing it, but Haley is so far on the bottom, she's screwed.
Throwing her under the bus. When someone is saying like that, hey, Haley, to stay on your tribe, neither of them were selling well.
No.
Weirdly enough, is she 4 for 4 on all the votes? I mean, she's
Alexa, you're horrible. What is going on? Go reset your internet or something.
I'm going to go into my family room. How about that?
Try it. I can't hear you like literally at all. Anyway, so I'll just keep on going. I'm just going to read off what's going on in the live chat here. So pretty much there's such an argument going on over whether this was somebody got screwed or somebody didn't get screwed. And I am going to be a firm believer that Malcolm got screwed here just because and I get it. It's a twist. I'm totally fine with twists. But this was a situation where you didn't do anything wrong. Your own tribe didn't want you out. This wasn't a merge. This is just something that randomly comes about. And yeah, it's an idol out, whatever. People get idled out. But getting idled out is different when it's on your tribe and you haven't made the right relationships from when you literally just go and another tribe who you don't have a chance to communicate with, which, like Alexa said earlier when she was actually audible, she said they didn't get to talk to the other tribe before they went to tribal. So Malcolm didn't even get a chance to defend himself to that tribe. This is like, oh, okay, let's get rid of the strongest person on the other tribe. Bye.
All right, so how am I doing now? I didn't want to interrupt your rant.
We're about to find out. I mean, so far you're clear. So I think the best comment here, I want to make sure I get this. Nikolai Haroon, who's also still left in the eliminator game. Alexa's internet is the worst twist of the season so far. Let's see what's going on. I think you're better. I think you are.
Well, I'm literally staring at my router, so I deserve to be voted out with how bad that internet was. So I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Man, I don't even know where my train of thought was. But yeah, no, Malcolm, absolutely. I think Malcolm did get screwed. He got screwed by a twist that executed well. I wouldn't hate the twist as much if the two tribes could communicate in advance. Maybe it would be kind of cool, not if the tribes are communicating the entire time, but maybe if they get like minutes of airtime of tribes communicating separately in their own camps. Then you have about 10 or 15 minutes before tribal council where they get to throw their ideas out. So you don't get a live tribal council, but you get a live lead into the tribal council. Some form of communication going in between the two tribes. That's what I want.
And like right now, I'm like seeing people are saying Malcolm didn't adapt. How the hell is he going to adapt? He didn't have a chance to adapt. He went and sat down at tribal council. Like he couldn't adapt. He literally couldn't. He couldn't prepare for an idol because he wasn't trying to get an alliance to vote out in another alliance. He had to get a whole tribe, people that he might not necessarily be tight with and was probably trying to get out, like a Sandra, let's say, to vote out an entire another tribe that they know nothing about. How can you adapt to that? There's no adapting there. That's my problem.
And what was funny about the live tribal is we only saw so much of those whisper conversations, but the ones where we got subtitles, was ever involved in a subtitle conversation. The only one that I can remember off the top of my head is two huge groups are blabbing on either side. Then there's Malcolm and Sierra talking to each other, and Sierra's like, I don't know what's going on, and Malcolm's like, I'm going to wet my pants. Or he says something kind of funny. And I think that's what we get. So I'm not saying he's on the outs, but he wasn't involved in any of these immediate conversations. He was a part of them, but we don't see what he says because most of the conversations are some form of Haley, Sandra, JT, Brad.
Yeah, and Malcolm wasn't really the sorry, you're still meh. I'm gonna give you meh. You've improved to meh. So like I will
take meh.
I'm catching you, but if I start talking and you're still talking, it's because you've cut out. I'm not cutting you off. It's because you've cut out for me. So that's what I'm going with here. I hear like what people are saying, and I get it. I get it. But like when JT is running over to them saying, "Hey, vote for Sandra," and JT's probably telling Malcolm they're going to vote for Sandra, and Malcolm's like, "Okay, well, do you want to vote for Sandra? Do you want to vote for Sierra? Do you want to vote for Brad?" They can't even say, do they have an idol? Or like they can't they're supposed to prepare that the other tribe is an idol. That's why they went Sierra instead of Brad. But you can't even say whether they have an idol or not because you don't get to see them looking for it. All you know is that like there's another tribe on this other island. Like this for me just will never be a good idea. It just won't ever be a good idea because this isn't a merge. This isn't anything like that. This is just saying to two tribes, vote out the strongest member of the other tribe. That's all it is.
And that's what's crazy. I just don't know in what time. How am I? Am I bad?
Keep going. Just keep going. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you keep cutting out. I don't know what to tell you. I'm next to my router. This has never happened this close to my router. Yeah, I just don't know in what time season this works out. I don't know what router?
Try resetting your router. Let's see. This is what happens when you do this stuff live. We don't have anything else going on. Alexa, try to reset your router because it's like terrible.
Okay, you go for it.
I'm gonna go.
You
for
keep
it.
talking. I'm gonna try this.
I'm going to talk to all of you. This is now officially the Phil show, the Survivor specialist himself, because Alexa's internet is just plain terrible right now. We don't really know what's going on. There's nothing we can really do about it, and we're already time into this. I'll talk about something else, though, if everybody wants, instead of talking just about this tribal council, which everybody wants to know about. But I'm going to say let's talk a little bit about this reward challenge. That Troyzan absolutely blew. He was absolutely terrible. It was 2-on-2-on-2, which I kind of like better than 1-on-1-on-1. If you're still listening, you can probably hear Alexa fidgeting over there. I don't know what's going on, but it was 2-on-2-on-2, and pretty much like why did for the girls? I don't understand why nobody from like Sierra didn't run the balance beam. Why is JT doing the balance beam? You know, like why is Ty doing the balance beam? And this is sorry, I'm laughing at all these comments as they roll in. But
what are the comments?
Oh, it's terrible. Did you reset your router?
I shifted it because that was how it worked the first time I had issues. How am I any better? What'd you say?
Kind of.
I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, because you're no better. I think you actually have to like reset it. I think you really have to. You got to go for broke.
Keep talking.
You got to go for broke. I am. It's all good. It's all good. Hopefully everybody understands. Hopefully. Actually, I'll just start reading comments and I'll answer the comments because why not? Let's go here. So we have Steel Punch, who says Alexa loses the eliminator, which is always fun. We have Sarah. Why are idols so much easier to find than they used to be? You used to take 5 clues, and now you don't even need one. It was weird with Ty. I think he just knew where to look because on his season he found one. So whether that's just because he knows where they are or not, I think that's why it was good for Ty because he had it. It was he's done it before. He knows where they are. So that one I get. I don't understand why Troyzan's was at a challenge and Ty's was just in the middle of camp. I just don't get it. Let's see. How's Alexa doing? She's back. Oh, okay, now she's officially gone. Okay, so we're going to see what happens here. OMG, fire her. I get it. This is not ideal, obviously. Nobody wants to hear me just talk right now. But that's why I think Ty was able to find it. I don't know what their plan is. I don't know if they always said to themselves, There's going to be maybe one idol at camp and one idol that is at a challenge. By the way, ZF12321, she does have an Ethernet cable. But I don't know why they're doing that. I don't know how they're going to do this moving forward. So we shall see. Alexa, how are you?
I am great, Phil. Testing 1, 2, 3. How am I?
You sound a little bit better. We have 191 viewers live right now, Alexa. So I hope you sound good. Can you pull it together? Can you do it? Let's hear it.
Here, ask me a question and let's see if I can answer it.
No, go ahead.
You are looking perfect.
We're talking about idols now, which is something you brought up earlier. And by we talking about it, I was. So go ahead.
Wait, you cut out at that moment. What was the question?
Idols. So what is going on with the idols this season? And I'll see if you can take this and roll.
All right. Stop me if I'm not sounding good. So okay. What I mentioned earlier is we have an idol at a challenge. We have an idol in camp. And Jeff has referenced idols at tribal. So maybe type of idol, the idol that's with the Nuku tribe is at tribal council, so that every single tribe has a different replacement of idol. So then come merge, maybe they reset, put them in all 3 locations.
You don't think that, but do you think that's unfair? I think that's kind of unfair because it's easier Troyzan's was easy to find once he had the clue, but like Ty's was also very easy to find, and Ty's is just at camp, and it was far enough from stuff that he's gonna have time to find that.
And I'm disappointed. I'm just disappointed in. It has nothing to do with Ty. It has nothing to do with the placement of the idol. But I miss the idol hunting. I miss it taking episodes. I miss the hours that they waste. And I would love to know how long it took Ty to find that idol. That was like how long did he dig for? 5 seconds? Like it was just thrown at him. And that I guess that it leaves a bitter taste in my mouth because it also had such an effect on this tribal council.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, like they told him exactly where it was. Do we need to get that specific, like where make an X right here and dig at this X spot? Like Kagayan's one of the best episodes is when they're hunting for the idol. And we got Wu doing ninja stealth mode and all that fun stuff. That's like one of the better episodes. And it's fun because they're hunting for the idol. This is just like, he found it the day of and he just used it at the tribal. And if not, Sierra Dawn Thomas goes home. Good for Sierra, good for Brad, good for all of, like, Sierra and Brad are the ones who figured out who was getting the votes. That was really good when Ty, like, turned around and was like, who do I give it to? And Brad just, like, pointed at Sierra, and Sierra knew. She was like, it's coming to me. Give me the idol. And she was right. They were both right.
Yeah, no, that was strategic mastermind. Ty pulls up an idol and is just like, okay, now what? Yeah. Like, someone else tell me what to do with it. It's, yeah. I mean, I didn't love that. I don't love that idols are just, one, I love a challenge idol, but I don't like, here's a clue that you stumble upon, and then I'm going to give you the exact location, dig this find this X, and then dig 3 feet, and there it is. That was, yeah. I didn't like that, and I didn't like that it was like an hour before tribal council.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing. When it gets to the point where it's that easy to find, when you get the clue and then you can just walk over and it's like all the same day, I think then it's becoming too simplistic. Let's also. Oh, go ahead. If it's on.
So I was gonna say I had one headphone in when I was fidgeting with my router. So I heard you were talking about Troyzan blowing the reward challenge. I don't know if you mentioned #coffee is for closers. What was that?
I have no idea. That was so weird.
That was forced. That was like hilarious in the sense of this is embarrassing hilarious. That was silly.
And then I know there's that movie coming out, like The Boss Baby or whatever, where it's like cookies are for closers or something like that. And I thought that was going to be like a segue into like, here's a trailer for Boss Baby. But like that didn't even happen. Like it was just like coffees for closers. Troy's saying,
wow. Someone's going to have to talk to their advertising department. CBS advertising screwed that one up. And then we had #wow at the end, which I mean, I guess is as describe it, but that was a little funnier. Coffee is for closers was just so out of left field.
I feel like hashtag wow is becoming the thing where what used to be hashtag blindside and now they're doing hashtag wow. Because I think they did that at a recent tribal. Which one was it? They did that recently too. I forget which tribal it was. I'm sure somebody will tell me, but it was very weird. Nobody said these either. So like nobody's getting like hashtag points in our prop bets because nobody's actually saying these.
Yeah, if Brad said coffee is for losers after he hits that last knob, that would have been super funny.
That would have been cool. Well, now let me and then this is what I was talking about. Why did none of the women run this? Ty was terrible at the balance beam. They have Sierra Dawn Thomas, who's a barrel racer. Why is she not doing it? Why are they having Ty do it?
See, Ty, the Aussie, I get. Like, you can't, obviously, you can.
Yeah, Aussie, I get.
Aussie doesn't count. Ty, I figured he would have been better because he's so small, and I figured he'd be kind of nimble. I could see maybe them not wanting Sierra because, like, maybe gangly. But yeah, she's a barrel racer. Anyone could have done better than Ty. He was not doing great. And JT was like fine. I don't know who else they would have put in instead of JT.
Yeah, well, Michaela.
Michaela, yeah.
Yeah, not going to be Sandra. Probably not going to be Aubrey. Although I think Aubrey would have been fine too. But like Ozzy totally makes sense. Malcolm throwing totally makes sense. Brad throwing totally makes sense. The fact that Sierra didn't go really threw me off instead of Ty. That really threw me off. And even with like Troyzan throwing, that tribe, I get like they don't really have like a second in command there, and Troyzan might be the best thrower. But like he looked like he was tired. You're throwing sandbags; those things aren't heavy. How tired are you?
He was throwing so casually. He was just kind of flinging them. He was like very casual about it. I noticed that, and I don't know if he was tired. He looked almost like lackadaisical.
It was like it was seriously like Brad came out and was just firing. It was like Troyzan was like trying to aim but sucked at aiming, and also was like just like barely throwing. I don't really know what his whole plan was. I'm very confused as to how it went down.
And Brad had some pretty cool foreshadowing because Ty's struggling on that balance beam, and you get a sound clip of Brad saying, "Don't worry, I can catch him. I can take them."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was like here comes Troyzan, completely blows it, and like he feels terrible. He already knows he's on the outs. Sari gets the confessional, and that's all great. But then. When I don't think I've seen anybody really happier than when they came back and won the immunity because Troyzan knew he was going to have to use his idol that night because after blowing the reward and already being on the outs, my God, he's hurting himself.
Oh, yeah. I think it might have been after the first ball dropped in their maze. They get a cut of Troyzan and he's just like, oh my, like he is flipping out. And if we're going to talk about the immunity challenge, we need to talk about Jeff Varner. Oh my! When they put him in the closer position, like who authorized that? Who put him in the closer position?
And really, it's his fault that Malcolm went home. I mean, Varner, all he had to do is put the ball in the hole, and it's crazy because I think Michaela went and didn't get it done. I think that's what it was at first. I think she went second, wasn't very good at it, so they switched her out, and I think had either JT or Malcolm go instead, and then Varner ended up being like fourth.
He looked like he saw someone die. So broken. And he was sobbing into Aubrey. He was hugging Aubrey and he was sobbing her. It was so. I mean, when he goes in the closed position, I'm like, this is laughable. He's gonna screw it up. It was there, and then it was so sad. I felt really bad for him.
Yeah,
but man,
I don't know.
He's got to get better.
Exactly, and I think what's probably going through his head is I just blew this, and I'm going to go home before the merge again. I'm going home early. This is it. I blew it. I choked. Bye, Jeff Varner.
And there were so many funny challenge, funny things that happened in the challenge. We had Varner screaming, "Haul ass! Haul ass! You got to haul ass!" That was funny. We had I think it was Ozzy and Zeke maybe who were going for one of the bags, and you hear Ozzy's like balls, and then. Ty and Debbie are like an old couple holding hands. JT is skipping. It was so funny to end it on such a sad note.
Well, exactly. And like Malcolm tripped over the bar. And like, here's another one. And I know a lot of people want to say like that, whatever. We talked about this twist to death. But the one thing I do want to say is when Malcolm trips over that bar, do you know how many, and I know you guys aren't the casuals because you're actually listening to us, but you know how many casuals went, oh my God, I love Malcolm. So that's why I say this twist didn't work is because you just lost like he really was the fan favorite of the non-winners. He really was.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, I talked to my mom on the way home. I thought she was going to throw up. I mean, it seemed like I got voted out of the game. I think she cared about Malcolm more than she cared about me.
My friend who I was watching it, she was like, man, I don't know who I'm going to watch anymore because Malcolm's on it. And I was like, well, they're hook, line, and sinker. Okay.
Brutal. I don't know if he was cussing his way out of the thing. But anyway.
No, he's too busy crying.
Yeah, Jesus. I mean, that is the most sickening feeling in the world to go out that way, especially when you're somebody who really has like a shot. But, okay, so that's over with. Ty played his idol. Sierra Dunn Thomas and Brad were phenomenal with this whole thing tonight. Was Haley's move good or is Haley's move horrible?
I think Haley's move was good, but I think Haley she's never going to not be on the bottom of her current tribe. Mm-hmm. Brad or Sierra, unless they're thinking, let's get rid of Debbie because she has a meltdown next episode. Who knows? Yeah. But unless they're grabbing her and saying, okay, Haley, we're flipping on our own side. We're flipping on our own people. They're getting rid of her. And it sucks because it's not her fault. It's not anything she can change. She's playing a really great game. She hasn't gone home yet. But that's just the lay of the land. That's the way, unfortunately, that it doesn't even seem like a super title alliance. It's just like, oh, we were on this original tribe, so she's got to get out of here. So I think unless someone says we got to get rid of our own, they pull in Haley, but then still Haley's on the bottom. She doesn't have a counterpart. And it's really unfortunate because she is playing so well. And it's odd that no one is Brad or Sandra or someone isn't scooping her up and saying, let's do this with her.
Yeah, and I don't know how. I mean, I think she's playing good. I don't think she's playing great, and I don't know how I feel about this move. The only thing that I can think she's thinking is, I will never not be fifth on this tribe, like you just said. And all she can hope is that there's a swap coming up. She gets stuck with some of those other people who she told the truth to. Her tribe doesn't go to the next tribal, the next one or two tribals, so she gets a chance to get onto another tribe and really and say, look, I helped you guys get rid of Brad. Or at least now she can say, I tried, and you guys messed up. So I think that's got to be what she's thinking, because I think she might have given up at this point on her tribe. I know she said she was talking to Debbie and like saying we should get rid of Ty first, but then Debbie was like, whatever. But it looks like Debbie's going to flip out next week anyway. So I don't know.
I don't know. What do you think Haley could do to be better? I don't know what she could do to put herself in a better position.
Well, and that's what always happens is sometimes you just hit a point where Brad is such a vocal leader. When you have a very vocal leader of a tribe and you don't have somebody beneath him who's willing to stand up to him. Caleb in Blood vs. Water was willing to stand up to Brad. In this season, you don't have anybody who's willing to stand up to Brad on that tribe. Debbie's not. It seems like maybe Debbie's going to yell at him next week, but Ty's not going to stand up to it. And Sierra seems like she's really tight with Brad. So it's always going to be 3-on-2, even if Debbie stands up. So I think that's kind of why she's stuck.
I think she is stuck. The good thing I can see for her, assuming she makes it to the merge, to reconnect with her old tribe, with the now current Nuku tribe, is she can say, I was caught in the crossfire. I don't really know what was going on, because she said it. She was like, I didn't consensus. I don't know what's going on. So, and she gets more of a benefit of the doubt than JT does, because although JT's on their tribe, JT's public enemy number one to them, right or wrong.
Yeah, no, JT is absolutely done. And really, this is the other thing when it comes to pre-merge Survivor and why Haley's in even a worse spot. They don't have to be nice to her, because if she goes home next, she's not voting for one of them to win anyway, because she's not going to be on the jury. So they're really at a point where they don't really even need to worry about Haley, assuming they're going to lose one more tribal, because I think they think they're going to. And I think Brad and Sierra are completely in control of that tribe, even though there's only two of them. It's like the one time where the minority is actually in control.
And you just reminded me of something that I think I was trying to say, and then I cut out for the 500th time. But what was weird about the placement of this council is that we're going to have more votes, but now they're just going to be normal again. They're just going to be normal 5 or 6 person tribe votes. So this whole thing we had this massive explosion, and now we have to go back to normalcy.
And that's kind of why I was like confused by this entire situation, is because it's great for the instant gratification. This was a great tribal council tonight. I think this was a great episode. I think overall this was great. I honestly don't care that we lost Malcolm. Whatever, it's the game. I'm fine with it. He's gone. That's the twist that happened. Whatever. I can think he got screwed, or I don't have to think he got screwed, but whatever, it happened. But what does this do for the season in the long run? And that's the only thing I'm confused about. Now you've lost Malcolm, and it was a crazy tribal. Yeah, this is going to be a very talked about episode. We have our, like I said, we have our most live viewers tonight, which is probably a bad thing since, you know, what happened 30 minutes ago. But we have our most live viewers tonight because people want to talk about this episode right now. So that is great. But in 2 or 3 weeks, what good is it going to do if the next boot is JT, the boot after that is Haley, and then somebody like Sandra goes? Because I think those are going to be the next 3 who go before the merge. I really do. I think Sandra's finally going to go. She'll probably be the one right before the merge. JT is done, and Haley is done. What good did this tribal really do for us then?
And I feel like
in the long run,
we're almost getting an overkill of, I don't want to call it twist, but an overkill of factors. We start with a 2, which is fine, probably because we have Tony going at the end, and then we have an immediate tribe swap, and then we have this crazy. And there's only this season just started. Are we just going to keep upping the ante to the point where every single episode has an insane twist and that's how people go home? I don't know how it falls back to a more normal season. This is Game Changers. This is the season where there's going to be a lot of twists and a lot of interference. That's what will make this fun, but I don't want it to become overkill and then the winner wins because they were in the right place at the right time for councils.
No, exactly. And so we'll see how this goes. I do believe that the reason they did this, they probably wanted to try this for a while. And whatever, you got to try it once. I don't particularly like it. But if you're going to try it once, you try it once. They probably said to themselves, let's do it on a season with returning players because we know we have a solid cast. We brought them all back for a reason. If we lose a big player, we lose a big player, but they've already had a chance to play. This isn't maybe their only time. It's not like they screwed Halo went out last season because that would have been ridiculous. Or like, you know, if like, let's say like, you know, somebody like Jay goes out in 16th place last season because of this, then it leaves a way worse taste in my mouth because this is the one time a guy gets to play and he doesn't do anything wrong and this is how he goes out. So I'm okay with it. If they wanted to try it out, I'm okay with them trying it out here. I just really hope they don't use this in newbie seasons because I really just think all that's going to do is create an extra layer of chaos that isn't necessarily good. Like it's fun, but I think more often than not, you're going to lose characters that are great as opposed to getting rid of fodder.
And that's something I said earlier. This was incredible TV. I'm going to rewatch this episode so many times, partly because I don't know what's going on, but also because it was just a really fun episode of Survivor. That might be one of the better episodes I've ever watched. It was just insanity. We're probably never going to get that again. I hope we get something crazier. But if we're going to do that twist, I want the tribes to communicate. I hate that they weren't able to talk beforehand. And I think people would not be as upset if Ty or Debbie or someone else went home. I think a lot of the perfect storm, I'm not saying this for you, but I think a lot of what made this a perfect storm, and you can even see on Jeff's face when he's snuffing his torch, he's just like, oh my God, Malcolm is going home. It doesn't help that we lose Malcolm as a result of this. I am a huge Malcolm fan. You can call me casual, you can call me whatever you want. Malcolm is the full package. He was so great during the very few episodes he was on. It sucks that he's the one we lost as a result of this.
I really think that Jeff probably smiling the whole time. You could tell he was like so pumped when everybody's standing up, doing like their huddles and stuff. He's loving it. I bet he went back to the production tents and he said, guys, that was incredible, but we just lost Malcolm. I bet you he was so thrilled with how the episode was going to turn out, and he was so devastated that they really did just lose the front runner of this season.
They did. Malcolm was the narrator. He was huge. He was a huge threat, but no one was targeting him. He was so popular. He was in such a good position. He had no business going home.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's it. One thing I do want to say is I wonder if Jeff Varner actually soiled himself, because he did say, if you play an idol, I will soil myself. We also heard Brad say in his confessional, I'm voting out the best player. Totally makes sense. Malcolm is the best player on this. Sandra is the best player. We get it. But Sandra's not as much of a threat to win as Malcolm is, because Malcolm hasn't won, and how likable he is. Sandra's trolling people at this point. I mean, she's sitting there. I know I ain't going
Sandra
home. How
doesn't
about
even
that?
care.
She turned into How About That girl. I couldn't believe it. Cash me outside. I was waiting for Sandra to just jump up. I was like, damn, when did this happen?
Sandra is memifying herself. She's turning herself into.
She is.
Yeah, she.
How about that?
How about that? I was, again, my friend who I was watching with had never really seen Sandra before. She was like, she's so mean. What's her deal? And I was like, she won twice. She doesn't care. It's like, it's Sandra's world and we're all living in it. And that's, Sandra hasn't got not one, has anyone voted for her?
No, I don't think so.
I mean,
and I think that's
ridiculous.
the thing. She's probably trying to play up how awful she is as a person, so that they'll take her to the end again, and she could say, my plan coming in this time was I knew I wouldn't get here unless I was nice. So I was mean to all of you, and you were still foolish enough to let me sit here. I think I deserve to win. It's a great strategy.
That is a perfectly wonderful way to probably win. I mean, what does she care?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, you have to learn to just take her for what she is. And man, the person who orchestrates her vote out, whoever that person may or may not be, good for them. Because JT and Malcolm were talking about it, and the survivor god said, nope, Sandra's staying.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing, I'm just going through like random notes here, and then we can get into comments. But one other thing I wanted to say is Michaela, who is successfully working on her facial reactions. When she heard it was one tribe, she almost fell out of her shoes. It looked like Jay voted her out all over again. She was like, "What?" She was doing the one arm thing. She was like, "Both, one tribe." She just kept.
It's funny, and then they have the camera angle of like her just kind of leaning over and just staring right at them. I was like, "Oh my god, they're gonna like beat each other up. It's not gonna be tribal council. It's going to be like a fight to the death."
I love Michaela. And Michaela doing the when they're sitting down at the at tribal, and she's like, what'd she say? Haley, they're putting you right at the bottom, right where they've already put you, or something like whatever she said. It was so good. Sounds like you're right at the bottom where they've already put you. Michaela was great. She's definitely not fixed her facial reactions though.
Those will never. But that's her personality. I don't want those to change. She just finds a way to be like as sassy as Sandra. Maybe because she's like, maybe I relate to her more because she's close to my age, but hers just don't come off as mean. They come up as just like, oh my gosh, Michaela's being freaking hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. Michaela is being true to herself. I honestly think that Sandra is playing it up a bit right now.
Yeah,
I
you
really
think Sandra, the mother of two, like talks to her kids. Actually, she probably does talk to her kids that way.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, hey.
Yeah.
I mean, but I just think that she's playing it up. I really do.
Yeah, I'm looking at other notes I have, because I know we started with the pinnacle. Oh, so the reward challenge, they win coffee. I'm like, I wouldn't want to win coffee because and it's very drying. But then
you can say why you really don't want to win, Alexa. We're all friends.
But then you get a jar of Milanos, and I was like, oh my god, they get Milanos. I really like that. That was like an unnecessary touch that I paid way too much attention to.
Yeah, I thought it was funny too. Like they were all drinking. I'm like, whoa, that's gonna wake you. Like they're probably so jittery because that's all that's in their system now is like coffee. Yeah. They were probably just like so caffeine.
JT takes a sip and he's just like, oh man, I am alive. Yeah.
I like when JT turns like full country.
Maybe that's why the tribal council was so screwed up. They were all just like hopped up on coffee.
And they're both tribes that won the coffee.
I figured it out. They were just like caffeine high.
They still had to come down. They were like, before tribal tonight, let's focus. Let's all drink coffee. And then the next thing you know, they're freaking running up the walls and stuff. I mean, that was crazy. We'll never see a tribal like that again, I don't think.
That was like a football hail. That was like Brad Culpepper was in his prime.
Exactly.
Yeah. Jeff wanted to jump in there. He was having the time of his life until his boyfriend got voted out.
Exactly. Yeah. Jeff's goal in that tribal council was for Sierra or Haley to go home. He lost one of his alpha boys. He's
and little does he know, Sierra and Haley find themselves as like the faces of this episode.
Sierra, Haley, and Brad were the three were just great. I mean, I don't know if Haley's is going to turn out to be great. I don't think she had another move, and I think I figured out what she was trying to do. Like I said, they left her out of the idol thing, which I want to draw attention to. Debbie would not stop talking when Ty came back with the idol and he said something, and Sierra just was like, wait, just like shut Debbie up and just like looked at Ty and was like, what? Because she knew that there was something going on, and Debbie, like, she had said it once, and Debbie just like didn't catch on and just kept talking, and then Sierra was just like, no, what? And then Ty told her. I thought that was so funny. And like, I don't know. I just thought it was great.
They're like such a dysfunctional family. I want them to not go to tribal council one week because we got some cool like Tavua family character moments. And I want to get that with their tribe because right now we're only getting strategy talk because they're going to tribal council every week. But you think the five of them talk about over dinner? Like what? Like they are just the most eclectic group of people, and you were only getting strategy talk. Like what? Like the whole. I guess we're gonna see that when Debbie has her infamous insane meltdown next week. But I'm really curious as to how Debbie fits in with Sierra, who fits in with Brad, who fits in with Ty, and then Haley's there too. And Haley and Sierra do not have a relationship. It's funny.
Sierra and Brad, I think, are very similar in terms of they're both very athletic. They're both athletes. They're both competitive, and I think they probably get along. Sierra is one of the guys. I mean, she was think about who she was like aligned with pretty much through all of Worlds Apart. It was Rodney, Mike. She was with them, and like Mama C, who's also like one of the guys. So like, I feel like Sierra is definitely like more towards that. I don't know. Debbie, Ty, I can't imagine like the five of them. You're right. Them eating, whatever, probably ridiculous. Also, I don't want to be mean, but like Debbie yelling, it doesn't seem scary. Like it just kind of seems like it just seems overblown like everything else Debbie does.
Well, she also screamed, what'd you scream? You broke my heart. What is the context of that?
I don't know. Maybe they killed maybe they killed the wrong chicken. I have no idea.
Maybe they found a goat and killed it.
Oh my God.
And Sam was like, man, I wish I was on the other tribe.
I'm very happy I used Debbie this week for Eliminator. That's all I'm going to say. I think this is a red herring. I don't think Debbie's going to go. I think JT might be bye-bye. But, or Haley. But whatever. I just wanted to.
Well, someone's got to carry the Phil and Alexa team on their back, and now it's you.
Now it's me. Of course.
The wrong decision by picking Malcolm, and I'm upset about it, but I love Malcolm. I don't regret it. My girl Sari hasn't been to a tribal council, so
it's true.
What a time to be alive. We have Ty, Sierra Dawn Thomas to get rid of Malcolm, and Sari hasn't been to a tribal council. It truly is a time to be alive.
It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Let's do comments. We've been live for an hour. We've probably been
talking for 20 minutes.
Around for 40 minutes. Yeah, if that. But whatever, we'll figure it out. But let's do some comments because, that's where we were at all. Steel Punch, got to say, why is that there? That was arguably the most suspenseful tribal council ever. I mean, it probably was. I think it was Malcolm ever.
I think the editors have done such a good job this season. They tricked me with Tony. You didn't even need to edit this. I didn't know what was happening. The only reference to Malcolm is Haley's statement of we need to get rid of the strongest person. And Brad decides to vote Malcolm out. But Brad's phrasing also could have been said about Sandra. So they do a good job of keeping us on our toes. That was insane.
Yeah, they really made it seem like it was between Sandra and then is an idol going to get played? So like when an idol got played, I was like, okay, Sandra's gone. And then it was Malcolm, and I was like, oh crap, bye.
I know. Do we start picking Sandra for not me. Do you start picking Sandra for your eliminator pick? We've never picked her. We always put her at the bottom of our power rankings, but look at us.
Yeah, and I did have, hang on, I have it right here. For my power rankings, I did have Malcolm at 14 and you had him at 15. And I know we got a lot of comments on that video that were saying there's no way Malcolm goes. He's so safe. With those twists, you just never know. They try to it made sense to get rid of the strongest player in the other tribe. Those twists will get you. They will get you. So yeah, also MVP and LVP. Thank you, Steel Punch, for the reminder here. In terms of MVP, I would say it's got to be either Sierra or Brad. I don't know whose team those guys are on.
They're both on Will's team.
Are they? Well, let's change that. No, I really do think it has to be one of those two. Because the thing
I
is,
was gonna say Sierra as the MVP, but they're interchangeable.
And you also had Ty. He's on my team. I'll say it could be Ty. I mean, Ty had to go find the idol and so that they could save Sierra. Without Ty, that doesn't happen, and then Brad and Sierra don't even have a shot. So Ty did have to find the idol, and he took the initiative to go get it on his own and then use it the right way. Even though he was told to use it the right way, I still think he could be MVP for sure. Also, Haley, I think, actually outplayed Sandra tonight, because when Haley said, guys, you're going to be disappointed, and Sandra goes, no, we can go vote. And Haley's like, you're going to be mad. And then sure enough, that tribe loses Malcolm. Haley was kind of warning her, and Sandra got, I think, a little confident on this one, a little too cocky.
I think Sandra's been a little too cocky for a while.
But this time, I don't think it worked for her. You know what I mean? Like, this time it didn't work.
That's true. Yeah, it didn't work for this time. Yeah, Haley definitely gets an honorable mention because I need to rewatch and still see what's going on, but she didn't put herself in any worse of a position, and I think she definitely gained some respect from her tribe because she didn't flip.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, she ended up voting the same way as all of them, so they can't be too mad at her. And then we have Gamer Girl, pre-Tribal Council, mediocre, not much happening. Tribal Council, final result, broken heart. I'm a huge Malcolm fan. Giovanni wants to know, is this the best Tribal Council of all time? Definitely up there, for sure.
It's up there.
Yeah.
Is it Eric giving away his necklace? I don't know if anything can beat that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that, and it's probably not as good as
Tyson. Tyson voting himself out.
There was also Kimmy. That one was great. There was the Michaela one last year. I mean, this was up there, though, because this whole tribal was crazy, and it was just something we haven't seen before. I really do want to see how the rest of the season plays out before I sit here and start giving out awards, though, because this really could be a devastating episode if, it just turns out where now Nuku just falls apart and all of them go home when this is, one of our, probably the coolest tribe ever assembled pre-merge. And now if they all go home, back to back to back to back, it's like you just did that twist to eliminate the coolest tribe ever.
And now we have all-stars all over again.
Exactly. Although it was a way more interesting way to get there.
Exactly. I'll take it.
Yeah. So we have Mateus S. Do you think Nuku will drop out of the next immunity challenge to vote out JT as revenge? P.S. I hate the new twist.
I hate throwing challenges. I am so anti-throwing a challenge. I really hope they do that. And honestly, they won't have to throw it because they're probably just going to lose it.
Yeah, with all of these idols and stuff, there's no way you throw challenges anymore. It's too easy to find idols. You can't throw a challenge to get rid of JT because JT will he has a good chance of finding an idol. And also
at this point, I know you don't think that Malcolm is a massive challenge beast, but in the context of his tribe, I mean, you got JT and Michaela carrying your team.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. That's huge to lose him. Huge to lose him. Whereas if the other tribe loses Brad, they go to the next two tribals no matter what. So yeah, this was huge. Leon Rod wants to know, does Sandra have the superpower of not getting voted out or something? I have no idea.
Deal with Jeff or production. Who knows? No, you know what? Sandra's a darn good player. And she has shown us that she can play a multifaceted game, and it's fascinating. It's fascinating.
It is. It is something. I want to mention too the kiss of death from Sierra to Malcolm was brutal.
We didn't even talk about that. That was just like a
that was brutal.
That was just goodbye. And he is his eyes are rolling into the back of his head. Oh my gosh.
Because at that moment he's thinking, okay, it's going to be Sandra or they're going to vote for JT. They're not voting for me. And when that first name comes up, the pit in his stomach, his whole world's spinning because it's he really had a chance to win it this time. He knew he didn't really have a shot in the second time, but this one, he was going to win this season. That's what he's thinking to himself. And then that happens, and for her to lean over and kiss him like that, oh my God, that's brutal. That's just
such
brutal.
A savage. And then also, who spelled Malcolm with a B? I was too busy crying.
It was Brad. That was the last vote read as well. So yeah, I think that was the last vote read. So that was Brad. Having a hard time. But a lot of them are doing this on purpose. They're actually spelling. They're changing up the spellings and stuff so people don't know who's voting for who. I've noticed that this season. They're all changing it up.
That was kind of like slightly different. But who was it? Will from last season. He like drew an H with his arm, so they thought he was voting for Hannah, and then actually wrote differently. It's crazy that even those little moves.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
It's crazy. We have Leon Rod. Ty sharing the idol with his group was smart. Instead of hiding it, he instead built trust with it and saved his tribe. And this is one instance where using the idol, telling other people on your tribe about the idol is actually perfect. This was one instance where like I was like, this one makes sense. I
am so anti telling people that you have an idol, but that was perfect. And they told him exactly what to do with it. They needed it. They would have lost without it. So yeah. Good on Ty. Good for Ty.
And last Leanne Rod here. Can we agree now that Fishbach was the wow, I just went crazy. Was the strategic brains of the JT Steven duo in Tocantins?
I was going to say that. I think this got lost in the jumble of my horrendous internet. But we see
yes, it was.
JT without Steven has made 2 serious blunders. I think Steven was ahead of the snake. They were a yin and a yang. Neither of them couldn't have gotten where they were without the other.
I agree with that, but I also don't think that JT has really made that. I still think the Russell Idol thing isn't that bad of a move. It looked like the women were picking off the guys. I still don't think that is as bad a move as JT gets lashed for.
I'm rewatching this right now, and the second JT brings it up to anyone else, Amanda is like, whoa, we have no idea what's going on there. And maybe he dismisses it because it's like, oh, Amanda's a girl. Amanda could go back to Parvati, who she has a relationship with, join this weird women's alliance. But like, you're playing the villains. Mm-hmm. Like, what? Like, where is the thought process? It's yeah. I going away an idol to someone you don't know. That is just I think that was a horrible move.
I just don't think it's as bad as all that because he's thinking to himself, we're down 6-5. They're voting off the guys. That's what they're viewing it as. You have to remember, we're seeing the whole thing. For them, it's just they've gotten rid of all guys. Why are they Russell's next? So they say we can bring him in.
He doesn't. He's never even met Russell. The difference with this one is he's had a relationship with these people at this tribal council. The difference is he actually has worked with the tribe that he's going up against. And here's his villains. He had never met Russell.
Which is also why I don't think it's that bad of a move. He had to he took a chance. If that works out, that's like one of the best moves ever. He had to take the chance.
Well, Jeff Probst was saying, what did he say? Yeah, not everyone on here has changed the game, but everyone here is willing to make the move to change the game. Mm-hmm. And JT tried. Horrible move. And no, you don't give an idol to someone you don't know.
Yeah, and then this one
if
tonight.
If it worked out, maybe I'd be changing my tune. But that is such a horrible move.
And then tonight,
2 villains.
God, tonight. I don't think this was that bad of a move either because all he wanted to do was get rid of Sandra. Yeah, he was the first one to get up, and that's a really ballsy move. But he got everybody talking. What hurts him is that his closest ally goes. Because if Sandra does go, he's okay, I think, because he's still got Malcolm to side with him and say, okay, it's okay, it's okay. He still voted with all of them. They just think that he told them who to give the idol to and that they just believed it. So I think that's where the problem lies. It's not that JT really made a bad move here. It's just, once again, JT, the person he was trying to go after didn't go home. His closest ally goes home. He has nobody to defend him. He has no witness. You know what I mean? Now he has no witness.
This wasn't close to the heroes versus villains blunder, in my opinion, because like I just said, he used to have a relationship with Brad. He used to have a relationship with the people on that tribe. So it is not bad of him to trust them. It's bad of him to trust Russell because he doesn't know them. It is not problematic for him to trust them. It's just that they played him. Brad and Sierra played him. They used him. So I can't fault him too much for that, but just what he stirred up at Tribal and to start and to say, let's get rid of Sandra, that's what goes back to, I'm so mad that they couldn't communicate beforehand, because if they could, this wouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, those are all good points. I mean, it's true. It's true. So we'll see if they ever do it again and what adjustments they make to it. We have We have Thrones Mari as my most disappointing early exit. Who would your most disappointing early exit be? Rob Sesternino, easy, all stars. Or James in Heroes vs. Villains, just because I wanted him to win so bad, and then he comes out and is just an idiot, and then gets hurt.
He was such a jerk in Heroes vs. Villains, though. He's such a different James. Like, he wasn't the goofy James. Yeah, that would be. I'm a big Amy. I mean, do we consider Amy's exit in Micronesia to be early?
Yeah, that's early.
Yeah. I mean,
anything pre-merge I'd consider early.
Yeah, I'm a huge Amy fan, so her going early and just the way she played, it was just so different from her Vanuatu game. Johnny Fairplay, how about that? First boot, not the Johnny Fairplay we're used to. Return. Yeah, man. I mean, there's
plenty with the returning players. There's plenty with the returning players.
Tina and Ethan, it's just the list goes on.
Yeah. We have NFL 4780. Ty never does what you want him to. Last time he didn't play the idol on Kyle Jason. Now he saves Sierra over Malcolm. Ugh.
Ugh. You know
He's
what?
Playing with his egg. This is why Ty's back.
Ty is entertaining. I will give him that. And I like people who are entertaining on the Ty and Debbie side more than Shamar Joel-esque villains. I would much prefer Ty and Debbie. Ty is entertaining me, and I will give him that.
Yeah. That's I still think he brings it. I know you wanted him gone, but this is why I'm kind of happy Ty hangs around. And he does things like this. You just never know what you're gonna get from Ty. Giovanni, is JT like in an abusive foster family like situation? Gets blamed for everything, just like the Malcolm vote. That was dark. I will say this is what I was going to compare it to. If anybody watched that HBO show The Night Of, it's pretty much like, the first episode.
Only watched the first episode.
Okay, well, that's all you need to watch. I mean, everybody knows the premise of this show, but you murder the girl and you have all the evidence against you. Did you murder her? Nobody actually knows, but you have all the evidence against you. That is literally what just happened to JT.
JT's got some dead girl's blood on his hands. Is that what you're saying?
He's carrying the knife. That's all I'm saying.
and then he shoves the knife in his jacket when he's in jail.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man, that show is cool. Riley Bursch. Brad seems to be playing circles around all of these legends after, in my opinion, the best game ever, JT made the two worst moves ever. What do you think about Brad? Is he playing circles around people, or is it who he's on this tribe with? What do you think?
I don't think he's playing circles around anyone. I think I would like to see him in the Nuku group, because in the current Nuku group, I would like to see how he plays with them. I don't think he won this round. He outplayed him this round. I'll give him that. I think he is. I don't think he's playing in circles around them, but he has a strong bond with his group, and we just said that they're a weird, eclectic group of people, but he has found a way to say, you know what, although Haley's kicking butt, he's complimenting her, he likes her, she's on the bottom, and I am very comfortable with the 4 people that I have. And that takes a lot. So the ability to build relationships.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's doing pretty good. I would just think tonight, I don't know if he necessarily ran circles. It was great that he realized they were going to vote for Sierra, but I don't know if he's necessarily running circles when he would have lost this had Ty not found the idol. So he had a lot of help from his friends.
Yeah, get by with a little help from my friends.
Exactly. He needed it this time. We'll see what happens. Giovanni Oriana. Fun fact, every time Malcolm plays, there's always a great tribal council, and for the first time, he's the one getting punched. Yeah, this is his Philip boot. And then should the twist be the same, except both tribes go stay at one location before tribal? That way smaller groups form. Alexa, you've said a lot on this.
Who was that? I want to tell
that was Giovanni Oriana.
Giovanni, I'm totally with you. I agree with that. We've beaten this horse to death, but at what point do you do it? Do you do it on the first boot or the merge? I just don't know where you place it, but you'd absolutely need some conversation beforehand.
Yeah. Aaron Weiner, love how Michaela is playing because she is keeping her mouth shut, yet she knows she can do it. Love it. Also, Haley is great too. Really loved Michaela tonight. She's being playfully aggressive. She's not being aggressive at people like she was with Figgy. She's being playful.
Figgy was all out aggression. Yeah, that's a better way to word it than I did. She's as aggressive as, not as aggressive. She is borderline as aggressive as Sandra, but the difference is Michaela's comes off as funny and playful, and Sandra is like, oh my God, she's so mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Michaela's,
No, it's true.
I mean, I'm glad that we haven't had too many, I'm glad that we haven't had many Michaela-centered episodes, because they're almost more, because she's in trouble when she's in the center of attention. She goes home, or someone tells her she's going home, and then she flips out, like the first episode. But it's more funny just having her like little quips here and there. They lighten up the show.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for sure. I thought it's great, and I think Michaela's bringing it, and I really do think Haley and Sierra Dawn Thomas are bringing it. So, I'm not lumping Michaela in with the two of them. God, I don't want to hear the backlash, but I'm saying that like they're all bringing it.
I'm loving Sierra. I'm loving her more and more.
Yeah.
She was I'll say this every time we talk. People were giving her so much flack for coming on, and she is proving it.
Yeah. Aaron Weiner again. Worst way to go out. This is a great question. Worst way to go out: Jessica Lewis rocks or Malcolm Freeberg screwed?
Both ended in tears. Oh man. It was more Jessica's fault than it was Malcolm's fault, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I would say it's worse to go out Malcolm's way, because Malcolm he didn't do this to himself. It wasn't his decision. And on top of that, it's his third time playing. He's running out of times. And so he plays for a third time. He comes in saying to himself, I'm going to win it this time. I'm going to win.
I think this locks Malcolm for a fourth.
Oh, he's playing again, but he has to be sitting there. But going into the season, he knew he could win this season. And to go out like this is devastating when you know you can win if you play smart, and he was playing smart.
But then you mentioned earlier, I don't want a twist like this on a newbie season. And this is not the same twist as The Rocks, not even close. But what was so heartbreaking about Jessica is, as we learned, she was in a really great position. She could have ended up winning. And she didn't flip because she thought Will was going to flip. It was more her fault than it was Malcolm's fault. But it was that Jessica's was so heartbreaking too. I don't know.
I would never draw Rocks though, probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't go. I'm not comfortable with going to Rocks, because that is really saying Survivor gods take the wheel.
Yeah, and like Malcolm didn't say that going into this 2 tribal thing. That just kind of happened to him.
I don't know if I think, for the sake of having the answer, I'd rather go out Jessica's way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'd much rather.
Because, and also she turns out to be a massive fan favorite, and maybe she'll come back.
And she also got to be on the jury. Malcolm's going to loser lounge.
Yeah, Malcolm is going on vacation, and he's the 4th boot.
Yeah, exactly. We get to hang out with Tony and Caleb, so I guess that's cool. Aaron Weiner, or no, I'm sorry, Riley Burch.
Sierra.
And Sierra. Well, hey, why not? Riley Burch, what is it about Haley that has caused the first 3 boots to all dislike her, and even Caleb to say she's a terrible player? I think it's that everybody came in wanting to say, why is Haley on this season? So they already put a target on her back. And then on top of that, nobody's really trying to lump her in. And Caleb's bitter. Like, get out of here. Caleb's bitter. She played him. That's why. And I think Tony and somebody like Tony and Sierra might just be mad because they're like, we lost to a girl who we don't believe should have been on this season. And honestly, I think Haley's playing fine. I think she's awesome. I
find it odd that she's having a hard time finding her footing. It is weird. And we know Sierra and Haley don't have a relationship. Whatever, that's fine. But it's odd that she hasn't been able to really find a friend. And I think in the premiere, she and Sandra kind of get along for a minute. But we saw that, Sandra doesn't care about anyone. Sandra's just doing her own thing. It's weird. It is weird that she's playing so well and she's playing by herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I actually think she's proving that she can be pretty good because she's playing on her own this whole time, and she's really like doing work. Like, she really is. And I don't know why they dislike her. Didn't seem like anybody on Worlds Apart disliked her. So maybe it's just this cast. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand it.
Which is weird because I would probably say that this cast is probably overall like more friendly and or normal than the Worlds Apart cast.
Yeah, no, that's very true. That's very, very true. Jar Jar Minks, even knowing how good Sierra is, she wasn't the first thought because she's a woman. I'm sure Michaela has some thoughts. That's referring to the reward challenge. I completely agree. I was really surprised that none of the women were balancing. Michaela and Sierra are great. We have Austin Harper who says, "Don't let this episode distract you from the fact that the Atlanta Falcons blew a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl."
Yes. Also, don't let that distract you from the fact that the Cleveland Indians blew a 3-1 lead in the World Series.
Yes, exactly. And the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals. That's right, Will. Jar Jar
Go
Minks.
Patriots.
Hey, we don't need that here. Jar Jar Minks. At the end, both tribes stayed strong. The whisper conversations hardly mattered. I really think the whisper conversations just made it easier for the Mana tribe to decide who to play the idol on.
And the whisper conversations just ended up screwing JT in the future, and JT's the one who started them.
That's true. That's very true. Jake Larson, Brad and Sierra dominating the tribe, but it's not like they are playing with legends. They would get destroyed on the other tribes. And this is what I'm kind of saying. They got the better of Nuku this time, but it wasn't because they outplayed them. It was more that Ty found the idol. If Ty doesn't find that idol, Sierra's gone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I think if we put a Brad or Sierra in the Nuku tribe, I think Sierra takes the Opry position in within the alliance, keeping quiet. Brad probably takes more of a Varner and or Malcolm position, not the Sandra level of authority, but still up there. Though maybe Sandra doesn't give him the time of day. Who knows?
Yeah. All right, jumping over to YouTube, finally. We got Wences Acosta. Editing-wise, do you guys like going straight to reward challenge before the intro? That's weird.
It just seems so. It was. I think I looked at my phone. It was 7 minutes into it. We got to the reward challenge.
Mm-hmm. We have the Fall Out Boy song called "Coffees for Closers." So that's really weird. If Survivor's starting to do crossovers with Fall Out Boy,
that's a song. I gotta go listen to that.
If I think with Varner screwing up tonight, sooner or later he's going to redeem himself or snap on Probst. Rewatch it when Jeff mentions Andrea beating Varner. Varner gives a death glare. We also have the Cash Me Outside from Sandra. Why would Nuku blame JT for this when he clearly told the group, "I just told Brad it wasn't him"? That means someone else pulled an audible. Now JT is getting the blame.
I pulled an audible. I like that.
And then finally, this is all still Wences, by the way. I'm amazed that Malcolm had so much salt in his final words, and I legit think this is his final run, but more importantly, Survivor made me feel a new emotion tonight. So for the first time in all my viewing, it felt like I was watching a favorite character on Game of Thrones or Walking Dead die. And I'm still feeling a little shocked about it, though I will say that the twist did succeed because all Survivor fans will be talking about this. I loved it and want to see it again in the future.
I saw something on Twitter that... Do you watch Game of Thrones, Phil?
Of course. Are you kidding? I think the book's behind.
Sorry.
And on the other side, those are Game of Thrones right there. That's Feast for Crows and Winds of Winter.
I was always too busy staring at the bag of chips, which have mysteriously disappeared. But yes, someone on Twitter said this is the red wedding of Survivor.
And before I even saw that, when I was talking to my mother on my way home from work, I said that felt like the red wedding because my mom, I'm telling you, she was devastated, and I'm not used to hearing that. And I was talking to my coworker because we're good workers and we were both watching it at work, and I said to him, I was like, this is the first time, just like what Wences is saying, I actually felt like a little sick over this. And that doesn't happen to me. And I think it's because I can see myself in Malcolm, not because I'm good looking or as athletic or any of that.
So you need to grow out your hair and put it in a bun first, and then grow out your mustache a little.
My mustache, I got the whole thing rocking. But I just see myself as I don't think anybody has more fun playing Survivor than Malcolm. He loves the game. He loves playing it. He loves just the entire aspect of everything. He's always having a good time. And to go out like that, I mean, I could just see myself going out like that, and it made me nauseous.
I think, and we were texting. I think I said I want to throw up, and you said I'm nauseous. We finished, and I was just for 5 minutes, I couldn't swallow. I didn't know how I went home. It was very sad. Though I don't know if his final words were salty. They were more just so hurt.
He's emotional. I mean, you just got voted out for the third time. Like I said, he knew he could win this season. He was set
but
up
he didn't
great.
He did get voted out this time, but he didn't get voted out by his own tribe, which is annoying.
He was set up great, and he goes out like that, and it's just a devastating way to go. And he didn't think he was going into this tribal. He thought it was JT, Sandra, or they were going to have the numbers, and one of the other tribe was going.
Man.
Brutal.
Absolutely brutal.
The real Negro, sup guys, really don't know how I feel tonight. I don't care that Malcolm went. It's the way he went that upset me. Jeff needed to really control that tribal. Yeah, it's great TV, but that whole group talking was totally not Survivor. I remember times when Jeff would get pissed whenever a player whispered something, and when Gary played the idol, Jeff straight up said no talking. I don't know why they didn't go to the same beach before tribal. Also, that whole Haley thing was so pathetic. When Jeff tells you to vote, you go up and vote. Sorry if I'm sounding like a jerk, but I didn't like tonight's vote. Good episode, though.
The whole Jeff, I was wondering that because my roommate who doesn't watch Survivor had walked in and she was like, are they allowed to stand up? And yeah, they've gotten so lax with it. They could have walked out and he would have let them to go strategize. It was weird, but I think Jeff knew that this was a crazy moment and he was not going to stop anything that happened.
I honestly think too, if this is a newbie players, he might stop them, but because it's returning players, he's just letting them go. I just think he's like, give us what you
can't make a thing about this being the game changer season and then not let them do crazy things.
Exactly. We have Dennis O'Connell. Am I the only one who can't stand Haley? Malcolm got screwed, but it was his third time, so it's whatever for me. I'd rather see Silas or Aaron come back for screwed players. And I believe if you guys were to redo your best and worst twist, this has to be one of the worst. It screwed not only Malcolm, but also JT, and it also kept Haley around, who I just don't like.
Did he explain why he doesn't like her?
No, he just can't stand her.
I'd like to know why he doesn't like her. I'm enjoying her. I don't really get her because there's got to be something that they're not loving about her because as we just said, she's working alone and no one wants to work with her. So there's got to be a little something that we're missing personality-wise, but I think she's been pretty entertaining.
I really like Haley, and I really loved her. I loved her on Worlds Apart. Her and Jen were my favorite part of Worlds Apart. And I really like Haley still, and I think she's bringing it this season. She's on the wrong side of the numbers, so she has to get a little desperate. So that's why I think she's playing so much harder and maybe making moves that you don't want to sit here and watch anymore. At the same time, and I do think Haley speaks. She is insanely intelligent, but she sounds a little like ditzy. And I think that might throw people. I'm not saying this is your reason, Dennis. I'm not doing this at all. I'm just saying, like, it almost sounds like she doesn't know what she's talking about, even though she is, like, incredibly, incredibly smart. So I think that kind of rubs people the wrong way because they don't really know how to take Haley, at least when you're viewing it. And then you're not really seeing her interact too much with her tribe, at least in a positive way. So you really don't know, like, that's just how she is. And you're almost looking at it as, like, what is it with this girl? Like, what's going on here?
And I think she's kind of quirky. I don't know if you saw it on Reddit, but there's a video of her like lip syncing or like rapping to a song. And it's pretty hilarious. I'll send it to you. But she's incredibly smart, like you said. She's a budding lawyer, but she's also very quirky and a little funky. And I think people don't usually associate those personality types. So I think they're kind of having trouble swallowing it, but that's what makes her so fascinating. She's not a type. She's got so much to her. I think that's what makes her interesting.
She was a no-collar lawyer. Think about that.
She is a no-call. Man, that casting for that season was off. Anyways,
I'm still surprised that. No, I mean, this speaks that it's crazy that Haley got cast ever for this show, let alone to play twice, because it's just not a stereotype. She doesn't fit
why
did
they put her at no collar? What was her occupation at the time?
She wasn't. Student? She didn't have a job at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes sense. And they wanted her and Jen to have just giggles and loads of fun and torture poor Nina. Gamer Girl. I know you guys are going to bring it up. Who brought up the hashtag coffee is for closers? We don't know. Okay, yeah. So that's okay.
No one. I think we decided no one said it. I think
yeah.
Someone at CBS was like, this is funny and did it.
Yeah. Flame Badger, Sandra surviving another travel. Somehow, of course, she just doesn't go away. CVB, based on next week's prediction, it seems Debbie is going back to how she was her original season. She's playing one of the best games thus far, but it looks like that's all going to end next week. Did Malcolm get any confessionals this episode? Yeah, Malcolm got confessionals.
Malcolm got at least one.
Yeah, I think he got like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like Debbie, I don't know, looks like it's getting to her.
I don't know. I love Crazy Debbie, so I want her to be nuts.
No, get rid of her. Hopefully next week's the last
Well, maybe we'll get what we both want. I get an hour of insanity, and then she goes home.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And I use her for Eliminator, so that would be perfect.
And then it's Redemption Island, and then Malcolm beats her, and Malcolm comes back in.
But Tony was actually hiding the entire time.
Tony's in the spy bunker under the challenge.
Yeah, exactly. AT&T, do you guys think JT will now finally find the idol? Because judging by the preview, he's in major trouble. And considering Ty found one at camp, it proves that the idols are there.
Yeah, that's what's weird about these idols, and they haven't been planted. We haven't seen it planted on the Nuku beach yet. There's been no reference to it on the beach other than JT thinking that it's there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really interested to see if he can find a clue so that he can get the exact coordinates of this thing and see if it is like your theory that it's at Tribal, which I think could be a good theory.
And that's another thing. Sometimes people usually go straight into finding the idol. These are all clues that then lead to an idol, which I like because it takes more steps.
But think about like Gabon when they gave the clue for the idol and then you had to go find the idol still. Tocantins was the same way. Why is the clue to the idol just so specific? It's just so specific. It's too specific.
I think for a period of time, like back in Panama, the clues were like, or in Micronesia, there were like 4 clues. Like
they used to split it up where you found one clue, then you would find a second clue, then you'd find a third clue.
Yeah, I miss that. I miss the scavenger hunt.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if we'll get it back, but
we definitely won't.
We have Boosh Bear, which, by the way, congrats, Boosh Bear. I'm getting accepted to Miami. In very unbiased opinions, you should go.
Boosh Bear got accepted into Miami?
Yeah.
Wow,
So you should go.
I don't know how to tell you this, but you should absolutely go because it was the greatest 4 years that I ever had.
Yeah.
I met Phil that way.
Yeah, and it's all been downhill since.
It's been so horrible ever since we left.
Yeah. But let's see. I got to make sure this is like okay to read because I know sometimes Boosh Bear gets a little wild. But did you get sad when JT was crying over Malcolm? Because that was so sad and they were such a cute bromance. I cried. A lot of crying on this season.
Wait, is that bad? What did you cut something out? Did you censor something?
No. I had to make sure it wasn't bad because sometimes he gets wild. So I have to read his before I start reading.
Yeah, no, it's been kind of sad. The Varner, like, he looked dead inside when he lost. Him crying, and he was sobbing too. And then JT crying, Malcolm crying. I was sad. I wasn't crying. Felt like I was gonna puke. But yeah. I was sad.
And I think it's interesting because on the predictions and on last recap, I'm sitting here saying they're having so much fun. They're not even like they're taking it seriously, but they all know it's a good time. Like there's a lot of tears and like a lot of devastation because I think for a lot of these people, they realize this could be their last shot. And a lot of them, I mean, think about Varner. He hasn't played in 16 years, or he's been playing this game for 16 years now. That's a long time, and it's devastating when something like that happens and you think you're done again, and this might be your last time ever.
And you wonder for these players who have come back after long periods of not playing, or people like Ozzy who've been playing for a decade. It becomes their life. You don't just go on Survivor once and then go back to your normal life. This is people who play Survivor live for the game. So for someone like Jeff Varner who got his chance how many seasons later and then gets another chance immediately after, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
For him to continue to suck in challenges.
Exactly. Let's see. We have okay, so I'm trying to see here. We got Zach Abrams, poor Malcolm crying in his final words. I am saying this is the worst twist production has ever thought of because it got rid of a person who did nothing wrong. But on the bright side, there's a possibility that Cirie, parentheses, the queen, oof, that's a tough one to say, might make the merge because I don't see that tribe losing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so sad about this Malcolm thing that I've almost forgotten about Cirie, but she's one step closer. I don't know. She and Ozzy, and they're fine.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, and I think with this season, they're gonna merge at 13. We're down to 16. We just lost Malcolm, who I wasn't expecting to lose. I still think we lose JT. I think we lose Haley. So we got to lose one more. Could we get Varner and Cirie into this merge? Like, could that happen? That would be.
I think we do because Sanders our missing link. If we get Varner to the merge, if we get Varner to the jury, I know that's your dream, Phil.
That's my
dream.
And
if we get Cirie past, Cirie had no business being able to pass the first vote. And she's never even been to tribal council. So I never thought I'd say that Cirie was in one of the best positions, but she is.
And something that I really got to bring up here is Ozzy sure got a positive edit for no reason tonight. And it looks like he's going to hit the merge. And if there's one person who can run this game, Malcolm's gone, That is like the same type of person as Ozzy. Ozzy could run this game, and he got a really positive edit for really no reason.
Yeah, I actually wrote that down, and we never got the chance to talk about it. But we always know Ozzy as the loner, the one who, he goes out and provides for the tribe, and he's so great in challenges. But we got a couple sentences, but we got a little bit about why Ozzy loves providing and why Ozzy loves being alone in the water. And yeah, that was a character moment that we do not get very often with him. So that was a very good sign for Ozzy.
Yeah. No, exactly. And he caught the
massive ray. That thing was huge.
Yeah. So like it's looking up for Ozzy right now. Really weird. Wasn't expecting. I always get Ozzy's going to get a good edit and all of that, but I wasn't expecting like we're this far into the game. Ozzy hasn't gone. Cirie hasn't gone. Their feud might not hit until they hit the merge again, and we saw what happened the last time Ozzy and Cirie went to a merge together. So
Cirie 1, Ozzy 0.
Yeah, that's for sure. We have Johnny Talk Sports rewatching the reward challenge. Troyzan blew a 7 bamboo peg lead. Too bad Willie Boy isn't here. Let's pretend he is. Don't let it distract you from the fact that the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead. It's always fun to rip on Will when he can't defend himself. So I'll say that.
Too bad, especially when you had the best regular season record of all time and the unanimous MVP as well.
Exactly. But it is crazy that Troyzan blew a 7 peg lead in that. I mean, it's not that hard. Just throw the stupid bag somewhat straight.
A little less casually too.
You're the 54-year-old Uncle Troyzan. You're supposed to be able to hit these things.
You're supposed to care too much.
You're supposed to be great at backyard games that kids aren't good at. Let's see. We got Zach Abrams. Do you guys see another all-star type of season where it is good but just disappointing and didn't fulfill our expectations? We'll say it. At least this hasn't gone the way of all-stars where like people just went because they went. There's twists that are happening. It's a different way to get to the point that might not be satisfying, which could make it.
And we've said this before, but we've lost a couple premium players. But even if we lose our Cirie, our Ozzy, our Sandra, I'm still happy with who we have because they've proven that they are here to play. The final 5 or 6 of All-Stars was like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Zach Abrams, if you want to improve this twist, you let the 2 tribes all return to one beach. We've talked about that to death. Wentz Acosta, touching on Alexa's comment about upping the ante, there's also the rumor they're changing final tribal council based on previous salty jurors. Oh,
I don't like that because I like the way that I feel like the jury shouldn't be played with too much. So I wonder if he knows what this possible twist could be.
I know that a lot of times Jeff always talks about, we're going to like they talked about like trying to like keep them separated so everybody can't just talk about the game and like convince everybody to vote for him. But at that point, that's becoming like prison. Let them enjoy their time. They just gave you what they gave you.
What are you going to do? Lock them in quarantine?
Like it's different at the beginning of the show when they're in quarantine because like they haven't played yet. But after the game, when these people are going to be like going psychotic, you can't like keep them quarantined. That's weird.
After starving them for 30 days, we're now going to feed you, but keep you alone.
Yeah, you only get rice and stay in this padded room with this bed that's not comfortable. Let's see here. We got CVB. Does this beat Mitchell's from Australia's vote off for one that production was least ready for? His vote off determined on the walk to Tribal. Malcolm's was determined at Tribal. The only clue we got was here throwing out Malcolm's name briefly before Tribal. Production couldn't show anything to suggest his vote off because nothing at camp happened to suggest it.
So I actually haven't seen Australian Survivor, so I unfortunately cannot.
No. This is Mitchell. This is Mitchell Olsen, 6'6".
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he went out, it was Keith and him.
Okay. Wow. Sorry. I was like, whoa, crap. That was so long ago.
But I do think that this is something very. They really, I don't think, were prepared for it. And I think if they could go back, they wouldn't have done it. They would have waited, maybe, so that Malcolm didn't go home.
Wait until like dead. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how. The more we talk about it, I don't know how Debbie goes home in a situation like this, because they're going to get rid of someone big. Malcolm or Sandra goes home in this situation most times.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
an idol play.
Because the other tribe's getting rid of the strongest player. I mean, they wanted to get Brad, but the idol, whatever. We get it. We've talked this. Gamer Girl, you need to answer this one. Did something happen right before they voted? I accidentally hit last on my remote for a second. Haley said, I don't consent, which I actually thought, I know this made Dennis O'Connell mad, but I actually thought this was awesome because we've never seen this happen. And she's like, I don't know. I'm not ready to vote. Like, I'm not ready. Because, like, I guess that's in, like, the rules of Survivor. They probably tell them, like, before the game, like, you know, these are, like, the rules, or, like, you can read it. And, of course, Haley probably read the book front to back. And she's probably
a lawyer.
like, I've never heard somebody say, like, no, let's not vote. Like, I'm not ready. And then when Sandra's like, no, just go. And she's like, all right, you're not going to like it, but I'll get up and walk. And Jeff's like, and she just starts going, and Jeff's like, well, I guess it's time to vote. Like, I've never seen Jeff like that.
I think Jeff at that point, he was in too deep. Why interfere now?
I love Haley. I really do. People can say what they want right now, but I love Haley. We have Amy Tasty Fist.
Oh.
Sorry. Think Nuku will pagong Mana. Mana is now down 4, and if JT, Haley, and Sandra are slated to go next, Mana will have no one.
Well, it depends what happens come merge. You have this dream team of Tavua to come in, and Tavua is a mostly original Nuku.
Yeah, that's
team.
what they're saying. They're saying so pretty much like original Nuku is getting rid of Mana. It's going to be 9-4. Yeah. It's looking like it could be 9-4 going into the merge.
Yeah, I don't know. But at the same time, I thought that JT was – it said like JT was going to go back to his old tribe, which he kind of did. But his old tribe screwed him. So he must be thinking, I don't want any business with them. Poor JT's all by himself.
Yeah. And last comment, Wences Acosta. Don't worry, Phil. Alexa, being a Patriots fan, explains why her internet connection always goes flat. #SipandTea.
That's pretty funny. I'm not even insulted.
You shouldn't.
I think what I take from that comment is, and from this experience, is that I need better internet. And we got better internet this weekend. So
honestly, right now, you've been fine since whatever you did. You've been fine.
I sat next to the router and I unplugged the Ethernet, which is odd.
That is weird. I don't know why that wouldn't work. Why that would work better. I don't know. Somebody who's more technical than I might have an answer. I don't. But we pretty much are we skipping comments? We're not skipping comments, guys. I don't think we're really skipping. If we're skipping comments, we're just skipping ones we've talked about to death, which is pretty much all of them at this point. This was a really long podcast. Yeah, there were some moments that we're not proud of, but I also think that there were some moments that we really enjoyed.
Well, it's been real. It's been great. It's been real great.
Yeah, if you made it through the first 20 minutes, then congratulations, you won the trophy of good podcast. But we can't fault Alexa. You know, it is what it is. Because Will and I have had some episodes in the past. This might be the worst ever, but Will definitely had an episode once where he actually X'd out and deleted it. I think because we had like 15 viewers at the time, and like it was so bad his internet that he was just like, forget this, and he was like, we'll start over.
Man, okay, I'm gonna make it priority number 1 to get some better internet or a new computer. I don't know. I'll have to talk to work because this is my work computer that I'm using. So TBD.
TBD. One last thing here. I need to remember to say this, but I'm noticing as the live chat rolls by now, these people are saying that we didn't. You're saying Bobby Bush. I'm seeing you now. You said we didn't read your comments. We don't really read the live chat. I was just reading the live chat before because Alexa was gone, so I figured why not kill time. But
I need someone to hang out with.
I need friends. I was talking to myself. There was nobody answering. It was weird. But we only read the comments from the previous video and from Twitter just because it doesn't let you live comment, and going through the live chat with so many people in there is very hard to navigate. So if you want your comments read for our predictions episode, then comment on this video and we'll read them out on the predictions episode because that's where we read mostly comments anyway. We don't have as much to talk about as a recap.
And one thing before we finish up, speaking of things that we forgot, we put in our double MVP votes. We did not pick an LVP. And I hate to say this because he's on my team, but I'm going to put JT as my LVP.
JT has to be LVP. He's screwed. Even if he didn't play that bad, he has no shot.
Yeah. So I'm just saying I'm being honorable because he's on my team and bringing this up. He totally is LVP. So
yeah,
that's where I'm at. Anything else, Phil?
I think that's it. We'll update boot list. We'll update prop bets. If you had blindfold, good for you. I put Caleb. God dang it. That's
0 for
one
3,
episode
0
off.
for 3 on the blindfold, Phil.
I will just never get it. Oh, also, if you have people sitting out challenges, that's also very fun for that prop bet thing. We had a lot of sit outs tonight. We said for any reason, so everybody who sat out of that hero challenge, yeah, you got those people sitting out. So you're like 2 away. If you have Sandra or Sari, you're 1 away. So congrats. But that's really about it.
Yeah, well,
Alexa, you wanna
thanks
bring it
everyone
home?
for dealing. I'll bring it home if you can hear me. I was about to say thanks everyone for dealing with my internet issues. Probably just listening to me throw my mic everywhere as I try to fix this up. If you still want to hear us talk, subscribe to us on YouTube. Give us a follow on Twitter at Phil and Will. Give us a 5-star rating and a subscription on iTunes. Leave us some comments so we can talk about it on the predictions. Yeah, keep checking in, guys. We'll probably tune in sometime on Sunday.
I just want to say that if anybody listens to this on iTunes and doesn't watch us, they're probably gonna have a field day listening on iTunes, like for like 10 minutes.
I'm super excited to listen to this on iTunes just to hear how horrendous my voice sounded.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was a mess. Hopefully like the internet gods fix everything, but I don't see that happening. This was fun. Let us know what you thought. We'll read all this stuff on the predictions. Who's screwed? Who's going home? What do you think? That's about it, right? Vote for MVP and LVP. Do that. Bye.